We've got a date for the return of the Disneyland trams and news on the upcoming closure for Pirates of the Caribbean, all coming up next on Fresh Baked. We've got a date for the return of the Disneyland trams. You know, I had a pretty good feeling in the last few months that things were going to start happening by the end of the month, that the trams might return by the end of February. This based on everything that had been happening, you know, in the last couple of weeks. And per the Orange County Register, that does appear to be the case. They are stating that the Disneyland trams are going to return to operation. Guests can ride the Disneyland trams once again on February 23rd, 1 day shy of 2 weeks from today. In the past few months, we've learned that the fleet has grown from just a few trams ready for operation to more than a dozen trams ready to take guests to the Disneyland main entrance. We've heard of regular training exercises late at night for cast. They're testing, they're riding the trams after park hours. We've seen them start and finish a repaving project at the tram drop-off and pickup area in downtown Disney. That is now done. And most recently, we've seen them change directions of bag check at the Pixar Palace parking structure, where just a few days ago, guests were entering the parking structure first. You'd go in from the backside of the parking structure, get your bag checked, and then you would exit bag check it into the main common area, and then take the tram route into Disneyland. They have reversed that now, as of a couple days ago, where you now go through bag check the way you used to in the common area, at the bottom of the escalator from the Mickey and Friends parking structure, or the escalator from Pixar Palace, where those two escalators drop off guests. You go through bag check there, and then on the other side of that, you're underground in the parking garage for Pixar Palace, where normally, back in the day, there would be trams waiting for you. There aren't today. You're still going through there. There's no trams waiting for you today. And then you walk the tram route into the park. But in 2 weeks, there will be trams waiting for guests, and you can ride the Disneyland trams once again. And this, for many, is going to mark the return, will signal the return of normal. Disneyland back to normal. There are many guests out there who have said vocally that I'm not going back to the parks until the trams are back. That it's an important part of their process for a lot of reasons, not necessarily the aesthetic or just that it's part of, you know, going to Disneyland, but for others, it's physically they can't do it. Whatever the reason is, the return of the trams is going to return a lot of guests to the park. For others, that's going to be things like Fantasmic and World of Color and Disneyland Forever. That, for others, is going to be, you know, Disneyland back to normal. Whatever the case may be, it is my feeling now, with the trams coming back at the end of this month, I feel like those nighttime shows are going to be back by spring. That's how close we are to really having Disneyland as it was before the parks closed. So, I feel like I want to congratulate everybody. We did it. We got here. It's only been almost a year. It'll be a year in April that the parks have been open, and that might be worth a little retrospective, as it were. But it'll be a year that in April that we've been reopened, and it's taken that long. Well, we're still not there yet. By the time all this stuff happens, it will have been a year. Interesting. Oh, I should also add, on that day, the 23rd, I do expect the ESPN Zone bag check to return to guest access. Right now, it's cast members only. Right now, if you want to walk to the park, not through the tram route, but through downtown Disney, you have to go around the other side to the Disneyland Hotel. But on the 23rd, when the trams return, it is my feeling, or it is my expectation, that there's going to be a lot of guests looking to ride the trams, you know, when they first come back. That's going to be a very popular thing to do. Having said that, the lines are going to be intense, and I have witnessed intense tram rides. It is not enjoyable waiting for trams. Trust me, it is not enjoyable. I'm sure you've done it. For those guests who do not enjoy that, they're going to be looking for a plan B. But since you can't walk the tram route like you can today right now, you need another walking path. That is taking the pedestrian bridge that they recently built adjacent to the Pixar Palace parking structure. You take that pedestrian bridge through the downtown Disney parking lot, and then you do bag check at downtown Disney. Up until the parks closed, the bag check was at ESPN Zone. They closed that. It was cast members only. I do believe that Disney is going to reopen that ESPN Zone bag check at least by that same day, at least by the 23rd. So stay tuned for that. You got another couple of weeks, because they don't want to send you all the way around. They don't want to send you all the way around to either side. It's another 5 or 10 minutes added to your walk, probably. Okay, next, we mentioned in the intro, Pirates of the Caribbean, that we have a new entry into the refurb calendar this spring, and that is Pirates of the Caribbean. It's going to be closing for a refurb on March 14th. There's been no announced reopening date, and we can only see as far into the future as March 24th on the park's calendar. So, and it's showing it as closed at least that long. I think it's going to be considerably longer than that. Now, the refurb or the closure isn't to do anything to the show, into the pirate show. Don't expect anything like that. From what I understand, most of the purpose here is going to be for technical stuff, adding new technology, cameras, things like that to the attraction for cast member purposes. This is mostly for cast members, plus a few things to clean up that are showing little areas that are showing wear and tear, that kind of thing. Now, I mentioned all this. I mentioned Pirates and I mentioned its closure, not because that's important. I mean, there's attractions come and go off the refurb schedule all the time. Pirates is no different. But there is one other thing they're going to be doing when Pirates closes on March 14th, and to me, it's kind of a big deal. There's a courtyard. When you enter the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, you go through the queue, there's that threshold, the bridge that creates a threshold. You cross through that, and there's a courtyard. And in that courtyard, before you go into the building proper, in that courtyard, there are two trees, one on each side that kind of, create a frame for the entrance. It's beautiful. Those trees are wonderful. They add a tremendous aesthetic to that whole area. Those two trees are going to be removed when the attraction shuts down. Now, this shocked me. It took my breath away when I heard this. And I'm sure for many of you, me just saying that now probably took your breath away a little bit. Anytime I hear of Disney removing a tree, I die a little inside because I feel like trees are so important to, the quality of the park and the nature of the park and how it feels. And, the more trees, the better. The more organic, the better. The less concrete, the better. So it bums me out when I hear this. They took out a tree recently at Haunted Mansion for the same reason why they're taking out these two trees, and this happens a lot. Unfortunately, those two trees are sick, and they're not going to make it, so they have to remove those trees. It feels like such bad news. That's why I'm making it part of this news story because it's a big deal to me. Nothing. I don't know what their plans are in terms of what's going to replace them. Obviously, you need shade because that's an outdoor area, and you're out there for a good 10 or 15 minutes in that queue, in that courtyard. So maybe a canopy of some kind, at least temporarily for the short term. A canopy maybe, which is not as attractive, mind you. It's not as attractive as trees. Hopefully, they're going to plant new trees in those areas and we can watch those grow. Hopefully they don't. They got to do something. But that's why I do expect this closure to be more than just a week or two, because it's going to take a little while for them to take those trees out, I think. When I reflect on those, because like I said, they add a certain quality. 1983, that's when Disney remodeled the entrance to Pirates of the Caribbean. In 1983, they built the bridge. They converted that whole, and by building that bridge, they created some definition to the area, and they created that little courtyard. It used to be just flat. You used to just be able to walk right up into the door of Pirates of the Caribbean. Those trees have been there. That's when they planted those trees in 1983, and they've been there for those almost 40 years now. So again, my hope is that they do plant some new trees. I suppose you could put in new trees, whole grown trees, but I don't know if that's their plan or not. But we'll have to find out. We'll have to stay tuned. Now, I mentioned the March 24th date. That's as far as we can see into the future on the Disney calendar. I should mention here that Tarzan's Treehouse, Finding Nemo subs, and the Columbia are all still down for refurb as of the 24th, according to the calendar. Finding Nemo subs, we're definitely, it's not winter anymore. So we're into spring by March 24th. So much for that. So much for winter return for Finding Nemo. I have no idea. It's a mystery why it's taking this long. Hopefully it's not a big deal. Tarzan's Treehouse, again, still a mystery. I can't even, off the top of my head, I don't remember when it went down. It was before Christmas. What are they doing? I have no idea. Columbia is interesting. The Columbia is still closed as of March 24th. And the reason why I note that is because I feel like it is linked, obviously, to Fantasmic. We've been wondering when Fantasmic might be coming back. We were talking about spring as a possibility. But I don't think it's going to be back. If the Columbia is down for the 24th, Fantasmic will not be returning before then. In fact, I would say pay attention to the Columbia's reopening date, because they're not going to start Fantasmic until it's reopened. It may not be the same day. They may not open Columbia and restart Fantasmic on the same day, but they're not going to restart or reopen Fantasmic before the Columbia is ready for operation. It has to be the Columbia is ready for operation, and then they start Fantasmic. So the longer we see Columbia on the refurb calendar, the longer we have to wait for Fantasmic, I'm afraid. Okay, and that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned to Fresh Baked for more news as it develops on these stories and others. You can also follow us on freshbakedisney.com, our website, where we're dropping new news stories there again. Stuff that isn't maybe ready for a video, but additional information for your for your informational purposes. Freshbakedisney.com. Otherwise, follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.